Welcome back into Postgame Plus. A look at Mac Jones limping off of the field. Will not speak to the media today. The Patriots medical staff is still evaluating the quarterback. Let's bring in Phil Perry, who's live out there at Gillette Stadium. And Phil, a lot of questions surrounding Mac Jones and this left leg injury and what's happening out there. But what's been the reaction of players immediately after this game to that?
Well, first I'll tell you, Amina, that Mac Jones was not spotted in the locker room while reporters were allowed in the Patriots locker room after the game tonight. Though when he came off the field and went into the tunnel, there were reporters down there that I spoke to who said though they couldn't see him, he was behind a curtain, the corridor is sort of partitioned off. They could hear that Mac Jones was in a lot of pain as he was being taken back into Gillette Stadium, coming off the sidelines, coming off the field. So clearly, Mac Jones in a lot of pain, and talking to players after the fact, I spoke to Kendrick Bourne in particular, said, how can you survive this injury if this keeps Mac Jones out for a certain period of time? He said, good question. First, he said they have to pray for Mac Jones that he'll be okay, but they feel as though with Brian Hoyer, they can do some things to be able to accentuate his strengths. A lot of talk about the running game, and if there was one positive to take away from today's game, it was that the running game for the Patriots was pretty effective. But clearly, Mac Jones in his second year seen as not only a X's and O's leader, an on-the-field leader, given his position, but an emotional leader, too. He's somebody they feed off. They talked about that with me quite a bit in the locker room today. So if they lose him for any period of time, obviously it's a huge injury.
Phil, let's talk about the Patriots and their offensive identity. They had about 450 yards of offense today. Has that problem been solved, or are they still searching a bit?
They're still searching, and players will tell you that. They do feel as though they can be a tough, grinded-out, hard-nosed, blue-collar kind of offense that leans on its running game. But I think the natural follow-up to that is that enough? And what players will tell you is we'll see. But again, today they're over 5 yards per carry. Ramondre Stevenson, I thought, was tremendous when he was given the opportunity to carry the ball, and then they get down on the scoreboard and you have to turn to throwing the football more often. But I think even the bigger issue is, run or pass, 2 tight end sets, 11 personnel with 3 receivers on the field. What are they going to be? They understand in there that they simply did not take care of the football well enough. And so that's going to be a huge focus for them going into the coming weeks here, is just taking care of the football. Hunter Henry called them, quote unquote, dumb mistakes. And that's really what they feel like this loss came down to.
Phil, if they want to be a tough, grinded-out, blue-collar football team, we're seeing a team, too, that's scheming up a lot of shot plays for Devontae Parker. And they did it again today. We saw it happen in the first couple of games of this season, too, which is good. They might have to be aggressive to win some football games, and we saw Bill Belichick speak about that. Did Mac Jones do a good enough job taking care of the football? Actually, bad question. Do you blame Mac Jones for the aggressiveness that led to turnovers and just say, hey, that's part of the equation for a second-year quarterback, or do you feel as if he's got to be better than that?
I think he showed last year that he could be better than what he was today. When it comes to throwing off the back foot into the red zone, that's a contested situation. Maybe you want to help your guy make a play there, but that ends up being a huge swing point-wise. You're taking 3 points off the board. If you just thrown the thing into the first row of the stands, you'd be in a much better scenario. So Mac Jones, I think he would tell you he has to be better, but there are going to continue to be growing pains here. Again, they don't feel as though they have an identity yet. They've been sort of waffling back and forth between, are we a 2 tight end team, or are we not? Are we a 3 receiver team? Are we a little Jordan Humphrey team? Or are we a Kendrick Bourne team? What are we best at? They're still trying to figure that out right now. It's clear to me.